Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a little cutting with my track saw, this Milwaukee track saw. A year ago or so I got rid of my Win track saw that I bought, which, you know, if you're on a budget, it's a decent track saw. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do, but I wanted to upgrade to something cordless. I've already got a bunch of Milwaukee tools, so I thought I'd try out the Milwaukee track saw. I'm too cheap to get the Milwaukee track, so I got Powertec track off of Amazon. I don't do a lot of angle cuts with the track saw. Pretty much straight cuts. I mean, stuff that I could actually have done with the Win saw really is what I needed, but I wanted a cordless option, so here I am. And then I want a cordless option, so I hook it up to a vacuum with a cord or a hose. But anyway, I'm gonna run this saw through here. This is a hardwood butcher block countertop, and I'm gonna give it a cut, see how it does. The track, when you lay it down on an object, it has kind of a, not really a sticky, but a non-slip surface on the bottom. So you can just lay it down on the surface of whatever you're cutting and it stays there, it doesn't move. But when you got something that costs a lot of money, so I got these clamps, these Powertec clamps, right? Slides into the track, and then you clamp it to your surface. So it actually works really good. So if you got something expensive and you don't want this track to move for sure, I would suggest you get the clamps with the track. Oh, thought I would try this before I make this cut. I mean, they make a mess. Track saws, they make a mess. So I thought I'd get some of this Gorilla Tape and just put it over. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This vacuum will suck up a bunch of this stuff, but I thought I would cover this. They make little plugs that go over this. So I thought I'd just throw a piece of tape over that. Make a little suction. Let's give this a try. That was an 1.5 inch piece of butcher block. Zipped right through it. It kind of stalled out here at the very end. I don't know if the batteries just kind of went dead in it or something. If I had a good blade on it, it would have been a good cut. Here's the cut on the off fall. It just needs a new blade put on it, so maybe I'll get to that. Alright, well, one thing I was impressed with was this little piece of tape over this opening here, the dust collection. That worked great. I didn't have much dust in that at all. So I'm going to show you, change this blade out. Get you up here so you can see. All right, take the battery out. Because if you don't, when you squeeze this trigger, it'll come on. So don't do that. You squeeze the trigger and you push it down right here. This is the lock for the blade, so you can take the bolt out of it. But right behind that, there's a little slider. You slide it forward. When you lower this down so you can get to that bolt, you slide that little slider thing forward, and it holds there in that position so that you can take the bolt out. So I would imagine you got to hold the lock. Looks like it's lefty-loosey on this thing. slides out. Yeah, this is pretty tore up looking. Like I said, I've had it a year and I hadn't changed this yet, so when I got a new blade, I think it's exactly the same. It's got these little raised pieces that actually sit down inside that where the blade goes on. That shaft. Once again, push your lock up here behind the hand on the, this is the other side of the handle. Alright, put my dust collection fix back on there. We're ready to go. Hopefully I can make a little better cut this time. As you can see, that is a much better cut. I should have changed that blade before I cut the first time. Very impressed. I mean, the dust collection's pretty good. Better than it is with just the bag on it. Okay, before I get to the end of the video, let me point out a few more things about this thing I think are important to know. I was going through batteries like crazy when I first got this thing because I was just using regular old 5.0 battery. So I bought this XC60 high output battery, and I think they even have better batteries than this now. But this is a game changer when it comes to this saw. I use it pretty much exclusively on this saw, and it lasts a lot longer. Also, I wanted to mention last summer when I was working on a composite deck, I was making the edge cuts, kind of picture framing the deck, and that where I was cutting all those inboards so that you could put the picture frame on. That composite material really plugged this thing up. I had to actually take this cover off right here and cleaned it out several times, and I don't know what the deal was with that, but kind of a pain in the butt. It clogged up pretty good with that stuff. I haven't had any other material clog up like that, but just that composite material. And I think this is used in that application quite a bit, so I thought I'd mention that. I think the best thing about this saw that I have come across was the depth gauge. The depth gauge is accurate, and if it's not, even out of the box, not perfectly accurate, there's a fine setting on there so that you can set it so that the depth is spot on. I really like that. I mean, if I'm going to cut something that's 1.5 inches, it's great to be able to set it for 1.5 inches and it cuts just through it, not more, not less, just through it. I love that part of it. Thought I'd talk about the track real quick. I can't speak of the Milwaukee track. I don't have that. I'm sure it's awesome. I can speak of the Powertec track. We've got two pieces here. We're, I don't know, more than 48 inches long because you can cut a 48-inch piece with each track. They connect together with these bars. So you just slide the other track on and you tighten down these set screws here, 2 on each side. How awesome would it be to have some kind of a quick connect for that? That would be great. I don't think any manufacturer does that with the tracks, so, but it would be cool. One of the things I know everybody reviews on this thing is this miter gauge. I mean, I've never cut anything miter on this thing. I did make sure that it was a 90-degree cut, that it was cutting, which it was. If it didn't have a miter on it, a miter feature at all, I wouldn't care because I don't do that on this thing. It's not what I have it for. So that being said, I can't review it because I don't know nothing about it. One other thing that this thing has is a variable speed on this thing. I just turn it all the way up. More power the better, right? So that's my review on that. I've never had it on any setting except for full bore. So I don't really want to compare this thing to the Win that I had because it's apples and oranges. I mean, this thing is 4 times as much as that Win was. But it is a better saw than the Win. I don't want to downplay the Win because for what it was a good saw too. It did everything I needed to do. This thing here, I used this saw for exactly what I used that Win saw for. It's just more convenient. So in the end, is your average John or average Jon-Bon, do they think that this is worth it over a cheaper saw? I think you got to talk about a few things. I mean, I can take this thing to a job site if there's no place to plug anything in, and I can use it. I can always use this bag, which, I mean, the bag isn't awesome. It's better than nothing. It does catch some sawdust. I mean, it must because it's full every time I turn around. I have a battery vacuum just in case. I mean, in a pinch, that might do too. So yeah, it's more portable for sure. Build quality is hands down. This is way better than the Win I had. The depth gauge, I love the depth gauge on this thing. So would I buy it again? 4 times as much. This thing costs 4 times as much as that Win. Yeah, I would buy it again. I love this saw. I think it's a great saw. So I hope that helps somebody. If you're looking at one of these and if this helps you, why don't you hit that subscribe button? It's free. Helps a guy out. And I'll see you next time.